and we got some other teams to get through here. Now, the other team who was in the grand final, the team who inevitably won the event, was Virtus Pro. So what is this? Their third event win in a row, right? They won Flashpoint towards the tail end of last year. What was the other event they won?
DreamHack December.
That's the one. So these boys, I kind of want to give everybody not the background. You don't need the background, but more so where this turned around, right? If you guys remember 2019 Starlighter there in the grand final at Avant-Garde when they had a Dren, things kind of went to shit after that. It weren't so great. Then Buster took some time away. Yakinda came in, Buster came back, Dren went out. The firepower has definitely been bolstered on this team. And not only that, like I saw some people posting stats on Reddit. I was going to make a tweet about it, but I thought we already spoke about it a lot, like the community, but obviously not. Stats on these guys because of the fact that they went from such high heights, then back down to relative obscurity. They had to grind back up. So they were playing in a lot of more local events or more like against the tier 2 teams and stuff. And their win-loss at the moment with Yakinda and Buster within the team is fucking awesome. I think it's like out of all of the best of threes they played, I was counting. So this figure is going to be off because I didn't write it down. It's something in somewhere in the range of 40 to 50 best of threes played. I think it's for some reason 48's in my mind. Maybe it's a little bit less. Maybe I don't remember exactly, but they'd only lost 7 series in total, right? And one of those was like the first series they ever played with this roster. So in terms of this team being on a hot one here and the type of Counter-Strike that they're playing, Striker, they're looking bloody hot, would you say?
Yeah, I feel like there's just so much that they can fall back on. They just have like 4 really strong people with one that's usually like a more supportive element than Sanji. And like they could like pretty much all of those 4 people can like individually take over games at times. And they just have a lot of firepower. And I feel like especially the Yakinda edition has been paying off lately in like those last 3-4 months where they started picking up form. Just because the guy has so much like multi-kill potential, essentially. Like if he goes off, it's going to win you the round, essentially. Like that's just the kind of a player that he is. He's very aggressive, and when it works, is just like paying dividends. So I feel like it was a really good addition to them, just because they were missing kind of that element with, you know, James being like a more passive opera and stuff like that. They didn't really have the guy who would just go crazy if it was necessary, and he can do it alone. Like he doesn't really need too much space created for him or anything like that. So I definitely like that addition in particular, and I feel like it just made a whole lot of difference.
I look at this team now and just the way that they're approaching every match, it doesn't feel like they're there to fuck around. You know, it feels like they're there with a pretty clear goal, and they've been able to take these steps up the ladder. Like Flashpoint, we can all be honest about it. It didn't have the deepest of fields, right? And same with that DreamHack event, it didn't have the deepest of fields. The same with this event. You're missing a lot of the big boys. But I feel that this is only benefiting this team getting to avoid a lot of those big names while still being able to win, because you're beating a lot of the other teams who are probably around your level. You're making a really good case that you're a legit team, and you're not having to do it while under the direct scrutiny of copping a fucking Astralis fisting, right? You're getting to kind of take these steps. So, did you ever get to prac against these guys much, Flusher, when you? Obviously, you played against them within that Flashpoint event that you were just talking about. But was this a team that you could see on the rise before they started making results for the public?
Virtus Pro is actually one of the teams that we haven't like practiced or played official much against. So I've never really saw them like in game a lot. And obviously, I don't look at all the games that's being played. It's way too many games to look at. So, but yeah, they have so many good players, and I think their confidence and their momentum right now. It's like every match they went into in this tournament. It's like they just went into the match knowing they are the better team, and yeah, it really showed that they were. So. I don't really have anything to add.
Sure, no, that's all good. Do we think this might be the year of CIS Counter-Strike, Prof? With Navi starting the year strong, same with Spirit. We're going to get to them in a minute, and BP looking this good. Do we think that CIS might be taking us for a bit of a ride?
I mean, it could be. Like all of these teams make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, as we mentioned them, Spirit, Force isn't the worst place right now. Definitely, Virtus Pro, like with everything we said about them already, I think you need to even mention that these teams that they beat here weren't that bad. There was like NIP twice, Furia, okay, with the stand-in, Fnatic. Who else did they beat? They beat Mouse Sports. At Flashpoint, they beat Fnatic again, Big. All of these, like OG, a lot of really decent teams that they beat. Of course, not the. They also beat Navi twice back in the RMR event last year. So the only teams that they didn't really play against are the big two, which are Astralis and Vitality. But other than that, they played almost everyone, or either beat them or like had some like close results. So that is amazing right now. Spirit, we'll talk about them later. Pretty good. Gambit look like a well-drilled unit. Like that makes sense. Navi as well are always there. I did say last week that I still believe it's going to be the same shit as last year, kind of up and down. But even that up and down is still almost consistently top 5 team in the world and winning a couple of events. So that's certainly not bad. So could be the year of CS.
Well, let's keep our eyes on that. Like I